When people think of Transformers, they might picture the massive movie blockbusters, or maybe even the more modern animated series. But it all started in the 1980s, with a line of Japanese toys rebranded for American shelves and turned into a Saturday morning cartoon phenomenon. But here's something interesting. The Transformers we saw on TV didn't always look or move like the toys kids back then held in their hands. Today we're going to take a closer look at how the original toy designs from the 1980s were adapted and often simplified for animation. The original Transformers toys weren't actually made by Hasbro. They were repurposed from Japanese toy lines like Diaclone and microchanged by the company Takara. These toys were highly detailed and often quite intricate, with complex transformations and lots of small parts. When Hasbro brought them to the US, they partnered with Marvel to build a story around them, complete with names, personalities, and a cartoon series.
You can swim, can't you?
Can I swim?
Then I'll see you there.
She kissed me.
Dream on, Bubble Brain. Now let's go.
That's where the creative liberties began. In animation, realism takes a backseat for clarity and consistency. Animators had to take the blocky, complex toy designs and turn them into characters that could move fluidly, emote, and be drawn repeatedly from different angles. Take Optimus Prime for example. His toy was sturdy but boxy with limited articulation.
Attack the Autobot Commander! Call in an Insecticon leader!
In the cartoon, however, his design was streamlined. Details were simplified, proportions were adjusted, his head became more expressive, and his limbs more human-like. These weren't just artistic changes, they were practical ones.
Dinobots, destroy Devastator! Me, Grimlock, love challenge!
Some design changes were subtle, but others completely redefined the character. One of the most dramatic examples was Jetfire, or as he's known in the cartoon,
His name is Skyfire.
Skyfire. The Jetfire toy was originally a repurposed figure from Macross, a Japanese mecha series. His design looked more like a sleek anime fighter jet that turned into what was essentially a Gundam. He stood out quite a lot compared to the rest of the Transformers line. Because he was a completely different toy brand than the rest of them, that'll do it. But because of licensing issues between Hasbro and Harmony Gold, the rights holders for Macross in the US, the cartoon couldn't use that exact design. So the animators reimagined the character from the ground up, changing not just his appearance, but even renaming him Skyfire. The result was a bulkier, more rounded design with completely different transformation logic and a completely new silhouette. The goal was to make him look completely unrecognizable to the toy, yet still fill in the same niche with the rest of the Autobot cast. A kid could be holding their Jetfire toy, see Skyfire on their TV, and go, close enough.
Why are you so frightened? I will not harm you.
Other characters had changes too, like Optimus Prime's yellow eyes becoming bright blue in the cartoon, Megatron had the trigger to his gun mode between his legs. Thank goodness they removed that.
Decepticons, attack!
My equilibrium destabilized!
Ironhide and Ratchet? They didn't even have heads on their original toys! Any kid with the Ironhide toy would look at it and think it was broken. It's because their toy from Diaclone was sort of like an exosuit for minifigures. Minifigures that didn't transfer over to America, so you're stuck with that. All of these changes weren't just cosmetic, they were part of turning a product line into animated personalities.
Maybe Ironhide's ready for a nice cushy office job.
Ain't no way. Soon as Ratchet tightens a few bolts, I'll be right back in action.
The Transformers will return after these messages. We now return to the Transformers.
One of the biggest reasons for these changes came down to practicality. The toys had tons of tiny surface details, many of them printed as stickers. These added realism and mechanical texture. but they were completely removed in the cartoon designs. Why? Because animators had to draw these characters hundreds of times per episode, from every angle.
Hey, keep it down! This is a residential area!
Simplifying the designs made them faster to animate and easier to keep consistent. This led to some strange oversights, however. Trypticon, the massive Decepticon city bot,
Transform Trypticon!
had yellow eyes on the toy, but they were just stickers. The animation team, working off unmarked prototypes or photos, apparently didn't realize he had eyes. At all. So, as a result, Trypticon appeared in the cartoon as this eyeless Godzilla that turned into a battle fortress, a design quirk born purely from a missing decal.
Trypticon cannot be stopped! Nothing can stand in my way!
Practicality is also why we saw a lot of mass shifting in the show. A tiny cassette like Ravage could become a full-sized Panther. Optimus's trailer would just vanish. Megatron would shrink from a 20-foot robot into a handgun. He snuck into a facility by hiding in a guitar case in gun mode. They didn't even try to hide it. The loss of physics did not matter. What mattered was visual storytelling and keeping the action moving. Today, fans still love the Generation 1 designs. In fact, many modern cartoons, comics, and collector toys continue to pay tribute to those 1980s characters. Not just their original toy forms, but the stylized animated versions that became iconic. What started as a creative compromise between physical toys and animation has become the definitive look of these characters. In a way, the gap between toy and cartoon didn't just define the franchise, it became a part of its magic. So next time you see a Transformer, take a second. Just think about the many layers behind that design. The toy, the cartoon, and everything in between. Thank you for watching.